Any damage done by them or their guests would have to be paid for. Since I'm quite protective of the house, I offered to decorate and find a caterer, and that would be my gift to them. So, I'm providing them with a venue, food, and decorations. I am currently almost 10K into my gift because it's my brother's wedding and it's what I wanted to do. Now, crap has hit the ceiling. His fiancée decided she needed at least 45 guests. While I was willing to be flexible by 1 or 2, but 20, nah. I asked her if she wanted to stack them, and she got salty. On top of that, she wants me to pay to fly her family in, because I fronted the money to my other brother because he couldn't afford a ticket, and he is paying me back. I told her no, and again, I got sassed. On top of that, she wants me to build a pergola, which I actually considered, paint my living room, and also pay for the drinks. I said no, I've done enough. She has now taken it upon herself to tell people I'm backing out on my promises, that I left her hanging, that she can't afford the super expensive wedding I made her plan, and even went as far as to uninvite my grandparents, just to spite me. Her words were, "You wanted me to cut back on guests, so I'm picking your family." I'm getting at least 2 messages a day asking me why I'm ruining her day, if I'm jealous, etc. Today, she called me to tell me that if I keep going out of my way to make her miserable, I and my rescues would not be invited either. For context, 2 of my children are adopted. While I find it absurd that she thinks she can uninvite me from my own house, the fact that she referred to my kids as rescues has me absolutely fuming. I'm considering canceling the whole thing, but it would royally mess over my brother in the process, who has done nothing wrong. Update 1. Hey all, as an update was requested a decent amount of times, I'm here to let you guys know how it all went. I heard they were visiting my parents, so I drove down as well, mostly because I wanted people present to witness the conversation. I told her and my brother that since my home did not suit her needs and it was stressing her out to the point that she was calling my children names, I no longer felt like I was giving them the appropriate gift by supplying a venue, caterer, and decorations. I said that I felt like in my efforts to protect my home, I was limiting their options too much, standing in the way of their dream wedding, and as a result, I would no longer be hosting. My brother seemed relieved, admitted to not quite wanting a destination wedding, and that things got a little out of hand during the planning phase. He thanked me for my willingness to help and offered to pay me back for the deposits I'm losing, which I appreciated but declined. His fiancée, however, accused me of being petty and jealous because I'm single and no one wants me, and going out of my way to cause her stress and ruin her day. She then pointed at my 2 youngest children and said, "You're doing more for strangers than you are for your own family." The kids are luckily young enough so they didn't catch on to this, but my older 2 did and were absolutely shocked, as were my parents. I told her she had all of 3 seconds to get out of my line of sight before I would be bringing hellfire down on her, while instructing my children to leave the room. My father stepped in, said it would indeed be better for her to leave, and told my brother that he was sorry, but that this is unacceptable. My brother agreed, took his family home, and has since called me to apologize and to say that the wedding planning has been put on hold until she comes to her senses. So, thanks for the input and help all. I'm happy it didn't end up all too dramatic. Update 2. Well, the wedding was yesterday, and to my surprise, myself and all of my children were invited. I, first, declined but was eventually mellowed down by the fact that it was my little brother's big day. I went last-minute shopping so we would be able to adhere to the dress code and even texted the bride photos of the outfits, asking, "Is this okay?" She was very civil, very polite, and even seemed grateful that we would show up after all. The wedding started, my brother, his wife, and their children all looked extremely happy and beautiful. It was a beautiful wedding, and I began to think that all the dust had settled. Until this morning, I woke up to a text message from my sister-in-law, explaining that she and my brother were both very disappointed that I hadn't gifted them the amount in cash that I would have spent on decor and food had the wedding been in my house. I am yet to respond. Frankly, I'm hurt because I thought they were reaching out to repair our relationship. Instead, they just wanted me to gift roughly 10 times what I gifted them, despite me already losing out because of the deposits. So, I am considering going no contact and completely walking away. I would miss my brother's children immensely, and I dread the idea of dividing my family like that, as our parents and extended family would be forced to navigate around the whole issue, but at this point, I am just so hurt and angry. To those of you whose relationships survived the whole Bridezilla saga, what did you do? Update 3. As many of you suggested, I contacted my brother and, in the midst of small talk, asked him if he was pleased with my gift. He expressed being surprised that they still got one, given the fact that I had already lost money in the deposits. When I tell you my blood boiled, now, I have never, in my life, done something petty, recovering people pleaser here, but in that moment, I decided to return her energy in kind, family dynamics be damned. First of all, I told my brother. He apologized and told me to ignore it, but I told him I would not be doing that. He said, "Well, I can't stop you," and assured me he'd never take away my spot in his children's lives. So, I screen grabbed everything and took it to social media. I tagged her, my brother, our parents, her siblings, and parents, and went on this incredibly passive-aggressive, childish rant about how I wanted to avoid misunderstandings within my social and family circle and how sorry I was that my efforts weren't to the bride's liking. My post went up about 3 hours ago, and the only message I've opened so far is my brother's, stating, roughly translated, "Woke up and chose violence, huh?" He doesn't seem to care. I will be going no contact with my sister-in-law for the foreseeable future and am now 100% done with this nonsense. Thanks for the advice, all.